are not going to interrupt this record. Yes, we are.
We'll do it again, over. Laying down one night, heard Papa tell Mama. Heard Papa tell Mama, let that boy boogie. Hey, 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 hey. The enemy.
Hello again, everyone. It's Dwayne. It is Sunday, 5/22/2016, and it's time for another edition of One Man's Opinion. Little John Lee Hooker and the boys from Big Head Todd and the Monsters. Boom, boom. Every once in a while, I just got to hear that, you know? Haw, 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 haw. Anyway. All right. We got some news out of Kentucky that we're going to talk about today. First of all, let's get to the primaries. We had one in Kentucky and one in Oregon this past Tuesday. Oh, first of all, do you like my shirt? I figured, it's festive. It's been rainy as hell and just gloomy. And I feel, I feel festive now because I've got this on. It's a little loud, yes, I know. All right, in Kentucky, we had back on March 5th the Republican caucus, and Trump picked up 17 delegates during that. He was not on this ballot here. This was basically the Democrats' turn. It was not a pretty sight for Hillary Clinton. There is calls that there might have been some vote tampering. Don't know if Allison Lundgren Grimes, the Secretary of State here in Kentucky, is going to do anything about it. She's a big Hillary fan. Unless the Republican governor decides to make her investigate the allegations of voter fraud and all that. She won a very squeaky close 46.8 to 46.3 victory over Bernie Sanders. The reason that there is call that it might be election fraud, voter fraud, and all that, at the very last minute as they're counting the final vote, suddenly she comes up with 4,000 more votes than she had the minute before. So she had a total of 212,550 votes, as opposed to Bernie Sanders' 210,626. Less than 2,000 votes separate them. Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility that somebody stuck a bunch of votes in the ballot somewhere and, oh, guess what we just found? It's not like it's not happened before in Kentucky or any other state, for that matter, that's run by the Democrats. And with Allison Lundgren Grimes being a Democrat and being in the position of Secretary of State here in Kentucky, like I said, probably nothing's going to be done unless Governor Bevin pushes it. And I don't know if he will or not. Regardless, they both got 27 delegates, so it was essentially a wash. However, in Oregon, first of all, Donald Trump picked up 18 delegates out there. Bernie Sanders kicked the pantsuit Hillary Clinton right in the ass. Bernie Sanders got 320,746 votes, 56% of the vote, as opposed to Hillary Clinton's 251,739, basically 44% of the vote. Bernie Sanders gets 34 delegates and Hillary Clinton gets 25. The delegate count as of right now today, on the Democrat side of the 2,383 needed, Hillary Clinton's got 2,293. She's 90 delegates away from her coronation. Bernie Sanders is at 1,533. Now, last week I kind of made the offhand remark that the only reason that Bernie Sanders is in the race still, he's going to the convention for the free food and political buttons. I think it's a little bit more nefarious than that. I think there's going to be trouble at the DNC convention in Philadelphia this July. And the reason I say that, a lot of the pundits out there are saying it as well. I don't think it's Bernie himself that's going to cause the trouble. I think it's his followers, the young socialists out there. A lot of them are saying it's going to look like the DNC convention of 1968 all over again. That's what they're afraid of. Now, on the Republican side, Trump has got 1,161 of the 1,237 he needs. Now, looking at the rest of the primaries here, I got my little folder with all the primary information and caucus information. We've got one more next Tuesday, well, this coming Tuesday, the 24th, in Washington State. As of next month, you've got June 4th, the Virgin Island Democrat Territorial Caucus. The following day, June 5th, the Puerto Rico Democratic Caucus. And then on Tuesday, June 7th, you've got the Montana, California, New Jersey, New Mexico, and South Dakota presidential primaries, and the North Dakota Democrat Caucus. The following week, the 14th, you have the final caucus, or primary rather, and that is the District of Columbia Democratic primary. Then, of course, you go into July. That's the 18th for the RNC convention in Cleveland, and the 25th, the DNC convention in Philadelphia. And, of course, the general election is on November 8th. We're just about done, folks. We are in the home stretch. Okay, let's talk about Potty Politics. We touched on this last week with Target and also an incident in Chicago that happened about a 33-year-old pervert that strangled a 7-year-old girl in a bathroom at a deli in South Chicago. He's supposed to have gone before a judge on the 16th. I haven't found anything out whether, they're going to do anything to him or not. I'm going to keep checking. But as of the time of taping, I had not found out anything. Target, we talked about, has lost market share. Well, and they're doubling down on their desire for the gender neutral bathrooms, the transgender friendly, whatever. And they're on track for another major stock drop. Their first quarter, they lost a lot. Their second quarter right now looks to be as much as 2% of the stock value. All because of the potty politics that they're playing. Barack Obama signed this decree upon high that essentially affected the schools, the states, and the federal buildings. It had nothing to do with retail or restaurants and bars and all that yet. Of course, I'm sure that's coming. Target decides to get out in front and put their best foot forward, jump the gun. Well, I shouldn't say gun because I might offend somebody. Jump the shark to make sure that they are trending. It hasn't quite worked out the way they planned. Let's put it like this. When Wall Street analysis say you're going to have a 2% drop on your second quarter and you're already dropping like a brick, that's not good news. Now, the second quarter runs from April to June, and they're saying, they're going to lose 2% on their stock. Now, the chief financial officer of Target, Kathy Smith, and Target CEO Brian Cornell were on a conference call with reporters this past week. They blamed the slowdown in their sales for unfavorable weather trends in the Northeast, volatile economic trends. Essentially, the economy sucks. It's very sluggish. Cornell said the company had not seen a material impact in its overall business from the protest. But he had seen some hits to sales in a handful of stores. Of course, he declined to say which stores and how bad the hit was. But according to the Associated Press, Target expected a sales growth in its new stores in the first quarter of 1.6%, but they only got a 1.2% growth. Now, that 0.4% doesn't sound like much, but we're talking millions and millions of dollars and jobs here, okay? The best way I can put this, and I did last week kind of jokingly think, if you've got stock in Target, you might want to dump it before it becomes Woolworth. I still believe that. I think Target has actually painted a target on their own back. And you've got 1.2 million people in a week's time signing this petition online that they would boycott Target. That's not good publicity for them. But yet, like I said, they're going to double down on this. And what's going to happen is they're going to lose more market share. Who's going to pick it up? Walmart. Who's not going to do this bathroom bullshit? Walmart stands to gain. And of course the left hates Walmart, They're all about Target. But they hate Walmart. And Walmart right now is poised to grow because of this. Even in a bad economy, they're going to pick up all the business that Target's going to lose. And that's just going to make Target look worse than they are. And the stock prices are going to go through the floor. So if you happen to have stock in Target, ditch it before it's too late. Okay, we had a plane crash this past Thursday. EgyptAir Flight 804, flying an Airbus jet. There were 66 people on board. It originated out of Paris, France, heading to Egypt. Cairo, I believe. They had 66 passengers and crew member, including 3 air marshals. What happened is that the people in Egypt and Paris and Greece too, and I don't know where Greece came into this, but somehow along the way Greece got into this thinking that it is a terrorist attack on that plane. There was no proof of that. Even the White House came out and said there was no proof of it, and we got to wait and see what it is. And a lot of people said, well, yeah, they're going to say that on everything. This time it might be prudent on their part to do this because a recording has come out from the cockpit. I don't know where it came from. I've got bits and pieces of this story, but essentially they've got cockpit recordings at one of the airports where the pilot says that there was smoke in a lavatory, then smoke in the cockpit, and potentially a fire in avionics. And then the plane disappeared off the map, off the radar. They're saying from satellite imaging and everything else, they may have seen smoke coming out of the plane. The plane essentially made a 90-degree left turn. A very hard left turn. Then it made a 360 and then it disappeared. And it was at 37,000 feet before all this happened. And it probably dropped like a brick. I'm not an expert on avionics or jet planes, but I can tell you that most planes today, you have to have electricity in order for them to run and to get off the ground. If you lose electricity while you're in the air, you're essentially going to be a missile at 37,000 feet plummeting to the earth. It was fortunate that it was over the ocean, because if this had been over land, especially a densely populated area, this would have been like a bomb going off. It would have killed hundreds and maybe potentially thousands or tens of thousands, depending on where they hit. And it would probably left a crater like a bomb. Now, according to the flight recorders, like I said, they talk of a fire spreading within the plane, knocking out the avionics. Almost immediately. Now, this is also conflicting because I've heard 2 or 3 different tales now off different networks. They almost immediately heard the pings from the black boxes. Also, I heard that they knew where the black boxes were, but it's in a deep canyon in the ocean, the Indian Ocean there, and they can't get to it yet. They'll probably have to go down in the small 2-man submersibles, get the black boxes, bring them up, and then maybe find out what happened. They've got 30 days supply of energy in those things, battery backup essentially, before they die. So hopefully they can get them within a few days here. It depends on weather and everything else. Now, Egypt saying it was a terrorist attack, and Greece and France saying it was a terrorist attack. It still could be. An incendiary device could have been ignited in that plane and started spreading through the baggage or something and under the floor where the passengers sit, and could have come up through the lavatory, through the toilet or the ventilation system, and it spread to the avionics, which is under the cockpit. Without the avionics, the plane is going to be a bomb. It's just going to drop, and that's it. Like I said, it may be 2 weeks, it may be 2 years before we actually know what happened on that plane. They're going to have to get the plane from the bottom of the ocean. Now, they've got body parts, luggage, pieces of the plane, the seats and stuff right now. But they're going to have to get the rest of the plane off the bottom of the ocean, put everything together in order to really find out what took place. Also, another reason why it may not be a terrorist attack, no terrorist organizations have claimed credit for this. Usually they're out there trying to recruit, say, yeah, we did that. Nobody has done that as of yet. I mean, it could happen still, but haven't heard it yet. So, anyway, we're going to have to wait a while and find out what happened. All right, let's go to Donald Trump real quick. Here in Louisville, we had the NRA annual convention meeting and all that. And Donald Trump on Friday was the guest speaker. Right before he went on stage, the NRA endorsed him for president. Now, there's a lot of people in this country saying, well, Donald Trump was anti-Second Amendment, anti-gun. Okay, let me ask you a quick question. How come it is on the left that they can have a change of heart, that they can evolve in their thinking, but it can't happen on the right? Why is it that on the right it's set in stone? It's all black and white. There's no gray area there. But on the left, there's plenty of gray area. And I'm finding this with the anti-Cruz, anti-Trump, pro-Trump, pro-Cruz crowd that's slinging barbs at each other still. I went through this last week. You know, if you guys keep fighting and the pro-Cruz people stay home and don't vote, it's the pro-Trump people's fault that happened, and it is the pro-Cruz people's fault that we will probably call Hillary Clinton Madam President. You boys and girls need to get your shit together. Quit throwing barbs at each other. Quit calling each other names. Quit saying that one's a traitor to their country and all that. Be nice and civil to one another. We are trying to take our country back. Ted Cruz is no longer in the race. Sorry. And I was a pro-Cruz guy. Get over it. Donald Trump is the nominee. Either vote for the man or sit at home with your thumbs up your ass, and it's your fault if Hillary Clinton becomes president. Period. Okay. Ted Nugent is there today speaking. I'd really like to have been there, you know, to hear Donald Trump. I heard it was very, very hard to get in. My uncle and somebody else that he knows actually tried to get in, and they didn't have the pedigree, obviously, to get in. But Nugent is speaking to the NRA today. That would be interesting to hear because he is very pro-Second Amendment. More Trump news here real quick. On Wednesday, he was doing a 20-minute on-air interview with a Seattle radio station. Basically, he said if he is president, he is going to withhold funding from sanctuary cities. Thank God. We've got 4 major sanctuary cities in this country. You've got Portland, Oregon. You got Seattle, Washington. You've got San Francisco, and you've got Los Angeles, California. All these states are run by leftists. They're run by Democrats and some socialists. They need to have their funding cut and all of them starve. I'm sorry. We've got to take our country back from the illegals. These people are invading our country. We've got murderers and rapists and drug dealers and gangbangers in that mess. I mean, what happened to that girl in San Francisco that got murdered by that illegal? He was in the sanctuary city. Donald Trump wants to cut their funding. I know the left's not going to like their funding cut, but it needs to happen. They need to learn that they are breaking the law by doing this stuff. It is un-American, first of all, for them to do it. It's not constitutional for them to do it as well. And when I say socialist, I will tell you right now, a member of the Seattle City Council is an open socialist, just like Bernie Sanders running for president is an open socialist. I'm not making this crap up, folks, okay? I'm letting you know we have Democrats in this country who lean to the left so far that essentially they're going to tilt the world to the left. If we don't stop this, we're doomed. We've got Secretary of State right now, Lurch, who wants open borders all over the world. What's going to happen when there's no borders? All the people are going to flood into this country, and we're the great Satan to a lot of these people. What do you think is going to happen? We're going to die. That's what's going to happen. They're going to blow us up. John Kerry is a traitor to this country right now with all this open border crap. Hillary Clinton wants to get rid of the Second Amendment. She wants to get rid of guns. Her wonderful little daughter, Chelsea, gets in an interview and says that now that Scalia is dead, her mother can, get this through, by putting someone in the Supreme Court that's anti-Second Amendment. We need to get rid of the ideologues in our Supreme Court. We need to get some common sense constitutionalists in there that will fix this country, because the ideologues on both sides of the aisle, mind you, have ruined it. Hillary Clinton doesn't need to be in a White House. Bernie Sanders doesn't need to be in the White House. Both of them need to be somewhere else. Prison, a nut house, I don't know. All right. Speaking of the Supreme Court, Donald Trump this past week basically had a short list of 11 potential nominees to the Supreme Court. From what I could see, it looks pretty legit as far as conservative credibility is concerned. He's trying to extend an olive branch to the anti-Trump crowd, the hashtag Never Trump crowd. He's trying to bring the party together, and this is a good start, trust me. He's also on Sean Hannity's show. He said the R word as far as Bill Clinton is concerned, rape. See, the New York Times did this hit piece on Donald Trump, basically trying to make him look worse than Bill Clinton ever thought about. And you've got these pundits, well, Donald Trump had affairs. So did Bill Clinton. He had numerous affairs from the time he was in the Arkansas State House and a long time into the White House. Climaxing with, and that may not be the proper word, Monica Lewinsky. They damn near destroyed her life. But you've got all these others, Paula Jones. You've got Juanita Broderick. You got Kathleen Willey. These people, Hillary Clinton went after with a passion to discredit these women. You want to know where the war on women started, ladies? It started with Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton when they were in the White House. And they blame everything as a vast right-wing conspiracy and Republicans started the war on women. No, Hillary Clinton did. She also got a rapist off. I forget, she was 7 or 9 years old. The little girl was raped by this old man, and she got the rapist off, discredited the little girl, and then laughed about it thereafter in an interview. This witch is evil. She needs to go to prison for the rest of her life. So does her husband. So does her daughter. The whole bunch of them, the Clinton crime family, are a bunch of con artists, murderers, and anti-Americans. That's just my opinion. I could be right. All right. Finally, we're going to talk a little bit about two things. CBS and the other alphabet networks out there are always trying to put down Donald Trump, and they're trying to raise up whoever is running for president on the left. This past Wednesday on CBS This Morning, Nora O'Donnell, I wonder if she's any kin to Rosie. This woman leans so far to the left, she tilts when she walks, okay? She was hammering Ivanka Trump over that New York Times hit piece that claims her father was a lecher, essentially. And, and I guess after she had gone on and on about all this stuff, and Ivanka Trump just set her in her place, they actually cut the interview short because O'Donnell didn't have anything else. She ran out of ammunition. Now, back in October, this same group over at CBS were just lavishing praise over Chelsea Clinton and Hillary and Bill, how wonderful they were. You know, it's okay for these alphabet networks to go after anyone on the Republican side, conservative side, but they will not go after their own kind. Why? They're not journalists. They are the propaganda arm of the DNC. That's why. They are Hillary Clinton's personal, how should I say this nicely? Well, I really can't say it nicely, but I'll try. They are her personal PR firm. And if you doubt that, if you deny that, you are part of the problem. Okay. Finally, we're going to hit some poll numbers here real quick. The Rasmussen reports this past week came out on Thursday. Donald Trump now has a 42% to Hillary Clinton's 37% lead in the polls. Last week, it was 41-39 Trump over Clinton, which was basically a statistical dead heat. It's a plus or minus 3% margin of error. So right now, it's a little bit better for Trump. He's in the lead. But there's also some other numbers that are important. 13% of the people that they asked, out of the 1,000 that they asked of all this, 13% preferred some other candidate. 7% were undecided. Now, last week, it was 41-39, Trump over Clinton. 15% favored somebody else, and 5% were undecided. I tell you, folks, I look for these polls to start favoring Trump a little bit more. Hillary Clinton doesn't want to debate Bernie Sanders. I almost think she doesn't want to debate Trump as well. If there is a debate, Trump will eat her alive. Because as soon as she starts throwing all this stuff like the New York Times stuff at him, he's going to turn around and he is going to explode on her. He is going to take her and her husband down. And, before I'm done, Hillary Clinton has already said that she's going to make Bill Clinton her economy czar, essentially. Put him in charge of the economy. I thought she was an independent woman and she was running for president. Why does she have to have her husband do a damn thing? She's not much of a feminist now, is she? She's not much of a woman. She's an evil witch. That's what she is. Well, that's just my opinion. I could be right. Okay, my time's up. I thank you for yours. You guys and gals have a great week. Be good to one another, and we'll see you again next Sunday. Until then, later.